I've commented before that I've had sort of a mixed experience with doing Adrian Tchaikovsky's short work, and so it seems very fitting that with this first one I've done that's a collection of 3 of his novellas, I again had a very mixed reception, although overall a good time with this one. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video we're going to be talking about the 3 novellas that are in this Terrible Worlds Revolutions collection by Adrian Tchaikovsky, which are Ironclads, Firewalkers, and Ogres. And this was a bit all over the map for me because I ended up being 4 stars, 3 stars, and 5 stars in that order, and so ended up that averages out to 4, which was pretty good. And so there were none of these that I didn't like, but again, I feel like with Tchaikovsky, I've been sort of all over the map with his stuff because he writes a lot of stuff in different styles. And so even though this is a collection, they're all having to do thematically with some sort of revolution. The way that these go about, the setting, the styles, all very different, and so it just is an author who I've really enjoyed. I do need to try some of his actual long-form stuff and read some of his novels, and I am interested too, both with his fantasy and sci-fi, but I've just had a good time here. So let's talk about each one quickly here. Starting with Ironclads. And Ironclads, the name and what's kind of being explored thematically, which I thought was a really interesting way to do it, is the idea of just basically the rich going off to war with all of the extra protection. And it is referencing many times how, you know, back in medieval times where you would have the knights, you know, they're coming from royal lineage and they have like the best armor and they're protected, whereas, you know, the common people don't have much of anything. So you have these knights going in and just, you know, waylaying and just, you know, just destroying all of these, you know, farmers and peasants and everything that they're fighting with because they're protected. And it's drawing the parallel then between then and now, which this is kind of a bit futuristic, but not probably super far futuristic, where now the sons of the corporations, who are kind of the overlords, send their people out who have sort of like almost like mech suits, but like again, armor, and they're very, very powerful and almost impossible to defeat and kill if you're just a regular soldier and you don't have all of those same kind of means. And so we are exploring that a lot and seeing this group though of soldiers who are sent on a mission because somebody who is one of these rich people in their fancy suit was somehow captured, and they're trying to figure out what's going on with it, and so they're sent in for the rescue. But there seems that there's more that meets the eye there, and of course we do tie into, you know, revolutionary ideas because that's kind of the thing going on here with the theme. But the main character here is constantly talking about another character. He's like, oh, he says this, he says that. And so that's something that you have, where you have a lot of the exposition delivered in that way. We're like, well, this guy told me, which I feel like is something that could go either way for me. I kind of, I don't know, it fit with both the character that was doing the narrating, it helped kind of fit with who they were, and also with this other character. And again, I just think the base kind of theme and that description as well, and the way that that was used with, you know, comparing knights, I think just worked really well for me. So I had a good time with this one. The toward the end, it got to, I didn't care for it as much. This is one where kind of as we were just going, I was really enjoying it, talking about everything, but then getting where we were going was a little bit less fun, but I still enjoyed this overall and ended up giving it 4 stars. Then next up we had Firewalkers, which is the one I was a little bit lower on. It's 3, and this is in kind of the same vein, but a little bit more futuristic, I would say, probably. But this is where the Earth has been pretty well destroyed, like weather and climate-wise, and so now it's basically, it said that like half the world is like underwater and the other half has no water and is super, super dry. And so we're following a character and a few characters who are firewalkers, who are people who will go out of the kind of the township that they're in and into the just dry, barren, horribly hot area, and to go to do stuff, to figure stuff out. And in this case, they're trying to figure out what's going on because they're not getting enough power to this hotel for their air conditioning. And on this world where it's like too hot to live, basically, is kind of important. So they go off on missions and do that type of thing. And really what we're exploring here is you know, inequality and kind of sort of class systems. And, you know, we find out that the rich people have basically like a space station station, like it's a luxury space station that they live in off the planet, where they have all the things they need with food and water, and those that can't afford that are the ones who are stuck still being on the Earth, but they're still having to help provide power and do these types of things as well. And so that's what we're kind of exploring here. This one though, I felt like it was kind of the opposite. Where it ended up, I thought was interesting, but the journey there was not nearly as interesting to me as Ironclads. So following this with that one, if I would have started with this one, maybe I would have been, a little bit higher on it. But following Ironclads, where I felt the journey was really good, here it just was kind of odd, and we were still getting some exposition as we were going. But as these characters go on and travel, some of the stuff that they find just was kind of strange, and it does ultimately work. And again, thematically, it's well written and woven in really well, but I just found myself kind of less into this one. So this was the low point for me. However, we then get to Ogres, which was the 5-star for me, and I think, like I said, honestly, probably my favorite of the novellas at this point, jumping up to the top, because Ogres was not what I expected multiple times over, and I think just such an interesting way to write the kind of story, and again, going on with the theme of revolutions, but Ogres starts out, and it makes it pretty quickly on. There's a reference to a sort of Robin Hood character who's called Robin and wears a hood out in the woods. And so it seems like, oh, is this sort of a Robin Hood story? But then you realize it is something totally different with what's actually happening with it. And then there are some other twists as you find out more as you go along. This is one that is narrated in the second person, so naturally it should get all of the Hugos, because I think that's the rule if you do second person, which is always the joke I make when I read something in second person. I will say, though, the second person here, it's a little strange at first, but it kind of works for the effect, and there's actually a reason for it, which I can't say because it would be spoilery, but there is actually a reason for that tense being used, which I think makes it all the better. Unlike the Broken Earth, where it didn't really seem to have as much of a point and was just kind of there for effect. So I like that it actually had a reason. That this is also one of those stories where it was interesting at first because we're following a character who was referred to as you, but who is the son of the headman of this village, and we are seeing that he kind of goes off and he hangs out with the outlaws a little bit. And it's just, kind of doing his own thing, and we get some exposition there. But then the ogres come in, and the ogres are huge, and they're much bigger, and they come in, and they're the only ones who can eat meat. And some things happen. He offends one, and it ends up sending him on the path that he's going on. And so the idea with the ogres as well, they're also not quite what they seem at first. And so it's just a whole bunch of not quite what it seems with this. And it's the journey of him, becoming essentially a hero, so to speak, when he's put on his hero's journey by the impetus of what happens when he offends this ogre. But we are learning more about the world and about history and about how we got where we are, and also some of the different things. And so it's what seems at first like it's going to be, like I said, kind of a Robin Hood story, and then it seems like, oh, maybe this is more fantastical, and then it also kind of then goes from there, and like maybe this is less fantastical than it seems. And so it's just keeps you guessing, but I was very engaged with this one, and the ultimate effect and what he accomplishes with the ending was just really, really good. I'd been told for a while that this is a really good one to try, and now I totally understand because it was not a difficult decision. This is easily the top novella that I've read from Tchaikovsky, and I've gone through a fair amount. I still have some left for sure, but this is by far my favorite, and again, was just super different. Not what I was expecting, but really, really well done. And yeah, so if you are looking for trying to figure out a good one, I do recommend that one too. It has by far been my favorite, and even if it doesn't work for you, he just does a lot of different stuff, and he's got sci-fi. He's got fantasy, he's got everything in between. So that's where it's so interesting seeing an author that's constantly writing A, shorter stuff that's a little bit easier to get to, and B, stuff that's totally different. So you can totally find all kinds of different stuff. So it's been really interesting. But yeah, overall I had a really good time with this. I still have some other of his short work to get to, and like I said, some of the novels too, but I've just really been enjoying. I haven't done this in a while where I just sort of keep exploring more and more stuff from an author, and again, the fact that he has so much short work, it makes it really easy to do so, whereas if it was just the full series, the books, because he's got a long series and he's got some bigger books too, and I do want to get to more of those as well, but with that, it's so easy to dip the toe in and try out the different of stuff. So I've had a good time with it. But let me know your thoughts on these stories, or if you have a recommendation on which ones I should check out next. I'm curious if people generally agree. Like, I know a lot of people probably have Ogres up pretty high, but I'm curious on the other ones too with it as well, just because I feel like everybody probably has a different ranking of the novellas, but it would be interesting to see. So let me know your thoughts on his short work as well, or the novels, you know, whatever works in the comments. Make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the links in the description as always for the Patreon if you want to support what I do, as well as the Wizard of the Enclave Discord if you want to chat books, whether this book, other books, really anything at all. It's a lot of fun and we'd love to have you. And of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.